All right, let's talk about AI agents. You've probably heard this term floating around, and, it can sound super technical, right? Like something only coders would get. But what if I told you the core idea is actually pretty simple?
Yeah, if you ever felt like you're just a little bit behind on all this AI stuff, especially if you're not a programmer, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to cut right through all the jargon and just focus on what these things actually are.
And here's the secret. The best way to understand an AI agent is to stop thinking of it as a piece of technology. Instead, think of it as your very own digital employee, a helper that you can hire to do tasks for you, one that can actually think, remember things, and get stuff done.
So, if we're going to hire our first digital employee, we should probably understand its job description, right? So, let's get into it. What exactly is an agent? And maybe more importantly, what is it not? Okay, this right here is the key difference. On one hand, you have basic automation. That's just a rigid set of instructions. It always does A, then B, then C. No exceptions. But an AI agent, it's dynamic. It can actually reason. So instead of just following a script, it can look at a situation and decide what to do. That ability to think for itself is a total game changer. So how does this digital employee actually work? What's going on under the hood that lets it think and act? Well, it all comes down to three basic parts that work together, a lot like how a person does.
First up, every employee needs a brain. For an AI agent, the brain is a large language model, or LLM. And you've definitely heard of these guys. We're talking about models like GPT-4, Claude, Gemini. This is the engine that does all the thinking, the planning, and understanding what you're asking for. It's the core intelligence.
Next, what good is a brain without a memory? The agent needs to remember things, past conversations, files you've given it, things like that, to make better decisions. It's the difference between an assistant who remembers your preferences and one you have to explain everything to, every single time.
And finally, an agent with a brain and a memory needs a way to take action. It needs hands, basically. And that's where tools come in. Tools are what allow the agent to actually interact with the digital world, to do things like send an email from your Gmail, check your Google Calendar, or go search the web for you.
And that's really it. That's the whole blueprint. A brain to think, a memory to provide context, and tools to take action. Every single agent, no matter how complex it seems, is just some combination of these three parts.
Okay, so you might be wondering, how does an agent check my Gmail without, a mouse and a keyboard? Well, it uses something called an API. It sounds technical, I know, but trust me, the concept is way simpler than its name. Honestly, the best way to think about an API is to picture a vending machine. You don't need to know how the gears and cooling system work inside, right? You just walk up, press a button for what you want, that's a request, and the machine gives you a soda. That's the response. APIs let different software programs talk to each other in that exact same simple way.
And most of the time, the agent is just pushing one of two types of buttons. The first is called a GET request. That's for pulling or getting information. Think, hey weather app, get me the forecast for today. The other is a POST request, which is for sending or posting information, like telling Gmail, post this email. That's it. That's how your agent gets things done.
All right, enough theory, let's make this real. Forget about code for a minute. Let's just think through the logic of building a simple agent to help us plan a trail run.
So here are the instructions we'd give our digital employee. Step 1. Look at my calendar. Is there an event called Trail Run today? If there is, move to Step 2. Use your weather and air quality tools to get the local conditions. Step 3. Open up this Google Sheet where I keep my favorite trails and find one that fits. And finally, Step 4. Use your Gmail tool to post an email to me with your recommendation. See? It's just a logical to-do list.
And voila! This is the payoff. This is the actual email the agent would send. And notice how smart it is. It's not just a generic message. It looked at the weather, the air quality, my calendar, and my list of trails to put together a genuinely helpful, personalized recommendation. That's your digital employee, hard at work.
Now, a trail planner is a fun little example, but it is just scratching the surface. Once you grasp this idea of a brain, memory, and tools,
You can start to see how you could use this for almost anything. The possibilities are kind of endless.
I mean, think about it. Your digital employee could be a research assistant that's always pulling the latest data for you, or a social media manager that drafts and schedules posts. It could handle basic customer support, summarize your chaotic inbox every morning, or plan your next trip. And every single one of those is just a different mix of the same 3 building blocks.
So there you have it. We took this big, scary idea of an AI agent and turned it into something much more manageable, your own personal digital employee. We saw how you could build one to plan a trail run. So now the question really goes back to you. What's the first thing you would have your digital employee do? What's that one tedious task you'd love to hand off forever? It's your turn to start imagining.